The reason the right women lose interest in you is because you don't feel at home in the world. Let me explain. You don't use life as a video game to practice your social skills. All you do is work, gym, and maybe the odd social occasion on the weekend. But you're not engaging with life. Are you actually having a purposeful conversation with the Uber driver, with the security guard, with the lady walking by in Whole Foods? It's not only about talking to the most attractive women when you see them, because she might become your wife. That sniper approach. If you want to feel at home in the world and you want to become actually really good at communicating with women and be able to seize the opportunity in the moment when somebody walks by who could actually become your wife, you already have to be in flow. But you don't understand flow. You think you can just work all day, speak more, speak less, just get into that grind mode, and then maybe go gym, listen to some masculine stuff, and then spontaneously do an approach. That's not how it works. There is momentum. You know, the same thing is true with your gym, with your career. If you go to the gym regularly, at some point there's a pull. You don't have to force yourself to do it anymore. It's the easiest thing in the whole world. But with social skills, or rather dating-specific communication, you need a level of flow. So, silly little example, let's say you're sitting in your Uber, Black Lux, whatever, normal Uber. You're driving. Oh, well, it should be you being driven so you have somebody to actually talk to. And you engage in a conversation. And you might think, what can I possibly learn from this taxi driver? Maybe nothing. True. But can you have a win-win interaction with that person? Can you make him feel loved or seen or at least happy? Give him a little bit of presence. Now, that does not mean that you need to be working, that you need to neglect your work. Oftentimes when I'm sitting in an Uber, I have zero desire to talk to anybody. I just want to get work done. Yes, my WhatsApp is blowing up with clients requests. David, this woman here, she texted this. I have more than enough to do. At the same time, sometimes creating a win-win situation, if you're on the way to the date already, or you're on the date just on the way to anywhere, having a conversation with him, practicing your storytelling, making him feel good about himself, that's an absolute win-win. There's countless of these opportunities. And now you might say, I'm a little bit more introverted. I don't want that. Fine, but try it out. Play with it. Don't reject the idea. What's the mark of an educated mind? The mark of an educated mind is the ability to entertain a thought without immediately accepting it. Try it on. Try talking to people everywhere. Because guess what happens? Then when you see somebody, you're already in flow. You're warmed up. Flow, the winner effect, is one of the most important things you can possibly generate. Yes, you have blind spots in your communication. Yes, there's things you need to work on to make sure that the women you can actually see a future with don't lose interest in you. That is 100% true. But one of those is you simply not being in flow. Because if you were to feel at home in the world, which comes through people feeling loved and loving in the furthest sense, if you don't have that, then you come across extremely stifled. You're trying to be James Bond. You're trying to be a little too cool for school. But then you wonder why she loses interest in you, because you're not free in your expression. You become free in your expression when you're getting into a positive feedback loop. Have you ever had this where you're in the gym and maybe the tension in the air is a little bit high because nobody's talking to each other. There's a lot of testosterone. You're listening to some music that gets you going. And you feel a little sense of hostility. Even though nobody's done anything, there's this unconscious sense of hostility. And then you have one little interaction with a person where you ask him to spot you or, hey, would you like to take this weight? 1 3-second positive interaction. Boom. And the tension is broken immediately and you feel immediately more comfortable. That's what I want for you. Obviously, I'm primarily here to help you find the right woman to share life with, to build a family with, somebody you're truly excited about. But to get there and to get the other outcome, which is happiness, you actually have to talk to people. I don't care how introverted you are. Do you know the only scientifically documented difference between introverts and extroverts? Introverts get more dopamine from social interactions than extroverts. Therefore, they're satiated quicker and you need less. You need less. My friend who's standing behind the camera, he's one of the most introverted people in the entire world, was a programmer, but then he became a magician for many years. He said, you know, when we all got locked down, best thing that ever happened to him because he didn't have to talk to people. But he actually went ahead and developed ridiculous levels of social skills. He can turn them on. Now he's been in a relationship with an amazing Irish woman. She has an amazing career, awesome person. But he got to that point because he didn't accept his nature as a limitation. You can be introverted. He still loves spending time by himself. He's like, hey, bro, I'm good. I'm just like crypto and AI for like 4 days in a row. Perfectly happy. I couldn't do that. I need a little bit more social contact. But whether you have blind spots in your communication or not, whether you are able to turn on flow or not, has nothing to do with how much social interactions you need. And you probably need more than you initially thought. So engage with the world in a win-win type of fashion. And one of the biggest mistakes that most men make when it comes to this is they look at it as transactional. What can I get out of this? One of the reasons I never liked the word networking to begin with, because it seems so transactional. You go into a social circle and you calculate how much value I can possibly extract from this. That's going to make you feel very empty. Even the people who seem to win, they lose in the long term. Now, we are all selfish at times, of course, but that's not our true nature. Do you want me to prove that to you? Have you ever given 10 bucks, 20 bucks, bought a sandwich for a homeless person? The light, the joy that you see in that person's eyes, that makes you feel good for at least a half an hour. That is who we truly are. Yes, we all have selfish needs that must be met, of course, 100%. But the more you can live with an intention of win-win, of simply saying, hey, how can I add value to this social circle, to this interaction, to this girl on Instagram, in my Hinge interaction with her? How can I add value? The more value you can add up front, the higher the probability that people are going to want to keep spending time with you. Now we have to define what value actually means, because it's a very vague term. Value comes in a whole different forms of shapes and sizes. One is just pure positivity. If you're more positive than other people, you become a source of positive emotions for them and they're going to want to be around you more. Very simple. If you just radiate positivity and love, it sounds very stupid and spiritual and woo, but trust me, if you could just be more positive, people are going to want to be around you more. Even if you're doing well on paper, and on paper you got all the credentials, and you're a good quality male friend to be around with, but if you're in a shitty mood all the time, or you're grumpy, or you're not your most joyful self, people and women, they're not going to want to be around you. They'll get pissed off by that. That is why the substance-addicted bartender is going to get her, and you won't, because he can provide fun. So positivity, fun, those are all sources of value. Can you do somebody a favor? Can you connect people? If you just ask yourself, how can I add value in this particular context? At some point, the good is going to come to you. Same with dancing or jiu-jitsu. If you go into a new environment, can you make a little Instagram story and say, best jiu-jitsu school in town, best dance school in town, best XYZ, had an amazing class. You tag them, positivity. You find ways to add value up front, and then people will perceive you as a source of positivity and value, so they're going to keep coming back to you. The more you can exist in this world, in a state of flow, the more good things are going to come to you. It sounds a little bit spiritual, but bear with me. Now, this does not mean that you have to be in this vortex or manifesting state of mind all the time. I'm German. I live in objective reality most of the time. You spend most of your time working, grinding, hustling. I get it. I understand it. But even there's moments where you can work from a place of tension or you let go. You know that you can put in a ton of effort into a project and it can feel very effortless. Or it can feel like a whole lot of effort depending on your own internal representation and your state. I would like you to tune into that state of flow because, as I said this morning in an Instagram story that I filmed, I would like you to obviously have the outcome of a loving woman, but I also want you to be free in your expression. I married a woman who wasn't right for me. She's a good, kind person, but we weren't right for one another. I suffered like a pig. I went through the dark night of the soul. Trust me, I don't want you to go through that. And I'm not one of those guys who has hate that is hard for women. Not at all. It's not her fault. It's not my fault. It was a lack of compatibility, but I assume responsibility going forward. If I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't have the passion to teach what I'm teaching you here today, because you will end up in pain if you don't get into flow, if you don't make a conscious choice to be free in your expression, while kind and calibrated in your interactions with women. You will suffer because you will settle for somebody who isn't right for you. That is bound to happen because somebody like you won't just be okay with being alone forever. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen is you'll settle for somebody who's all right, but not amazing. And you will feel like a pig in hell because your needs aren't met. And the only way to have your needs met is to communicate them. This is just a skill set, but it starts with everyday or at least weekly rituals. You don't have to make any grand changes to your life. Keep doing 99% the same thing that you've been doing, but add a little bit of social flow. Add some interactions. Can you talk to people, be that in a Whole Foods or in the cinema or in the gym? Can you make some effort? Can you get some win-win interaction points? Can you strategically infuse your life with points of happiness, flow, and connection? You do that, you'll feel more at home in the world, and the probability you're going to find a woman who's actually right for you, and then you'll be able to show up in that moment when she's presented with you in a way that's free and fun and flowing and concise in your communication is a lot higher. If you want me to help you with that personally, apply for a free initial consultation. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.